Welcome to 75 Stories, a podcast created to commemorate the 75th anniversary of Normandale Lutheran Church in Edina, Minnesota.
I am Dale Howard. I was the pastor of Mission Outreach and Congregational Care here at Normandale from 1999 to 2019. My faith journey had to do with where I was from, where I was born. I was born into an American mission family in a Muslim city in a Hindu country with 6 Jains, Buddhists, and whatever religion you would care to name, people in the vicinity of our home. So my faith journey really begins with an understanding of a multitude of spiritual and religious activities that bring people close to God and in community. I went to an international mission school, which was certainly Christian-oriented, but the Christianity there I found very judgmental, somewhat oppressive, and incidents that I can recount to people made me understand that there was some broader avenues of expressing faith between people than was being presented to me. That did not mean that I rejected the upbringing I had. My parents and grandparents were missionaries. My grandparents on the other side were deeply involved in Christian education. And that is a heritage of education and faith of which I am proud. I was in educational publishing for 25 years. 5 of those years I was in seminary. I gave that corporate life up because I felt led to go to seminary, which at the age of 39, with 4 children, a wife, 2 cats, and 2 mortgages, was a financial mistake. But I felt led to come to Luther Seminary in St. Paul. The journey then continues on, and it continued on as pastor of Outreach and Congregational Care, which means my faith comes to fruition in being with the children of Huchiruna in Peru and the sharing love with them and the love I received from them. In being with a doctor in Bangladesh at the Women's and Children's Hospital who has just lost a young, poor Bangladeshi woman in labor, the child and the mother, and crossing a line to hug this Muslim woman and say, Dr. Alam, it was not your fault. And then crouching down with the grandmother who was keening and praying, mourning the death of her daughter and granddaughter, and holding this poor Bangladeshi woman. That was faith to me. And that is part of, as mission of outreach and mission, I wanted people to experience, to come out of the congregation into relationships with people in other places, to witness their faith stories, their struggles. The small Lutheran church in Peru, trying to work with homeless families who were seeking to progress in their lives, who had desires for their children, for education and health. The same as people, our congregation members in Normandale have. And to understand that you are connected in ways that are far more important than your race, your socioeconomic status, your political viewpoint, whatever, that the gospel calls us to human relationships and to care for the poor, the imprisoned, the hungry. What developed as I learned what people needed and what mission needed was really 5 things. One I've said a little bit about, which is the basis of mission is relationships, is building relationships, and that's 2 ways. The people with whom we engaged in mission, whether in Bangladesh and India and Peru or South Minneapolis, had as much or more to give us as we have to give them. We could learn so much, which is why our mission trips and engaging volunteers at Normandale House was so important. Relationships as the foundation. Partnerships. You don't do this alone. There are other people and organizations who have experience and knowledge that will help you avoid mistakes and multiply your mission and ministry. The entire church, I wanted everyone engaged. That was part of a learning experience at Normandale, how to engage people in ministries and places and people with whom they were not familiar. That was certainly a challenge as we go along. To have the mission trip, that was part of the priority, to go and be with people. And then certainly there was a financial part to this, and that was again to engage people in however ways they could give. The congregational care part was mainly Stephen ministry, which was something that I needed to go and learn about and then engage with a group of people here who were Stephen ministers, who really knew what they were doing in training others to be careful listeners and caretakers to those who were going through difficulty. Retirement has been a challenge in many ways because I had, as I think any pastor does who has a family, to find myself, maybe that's right, to find myself, to rediscover myself as husband, as father, and now as grandfather. If I have a continuing ministry of outreach, it is in those relationships what I cherish, and it's 2-way. It's coming and going. And we talk, yes, about some religion, beliefs, spirituality. We're very open and very careful.
We are so glad you joined us today here at 75 Stories. If you'd like to share your own story, please contact Christy Shepard at kshepard@normluth.org. Join us next week for another story, and share this podcast with your friends and family. We are all part of the Normandale community.